Hi, Paul. First of all, uh, thank you for your letter. I appreciate you taking the time and sharing your thoughts and your shared care and concern for the animals, and with specific that what I'm talking about here are the spotted hyenas. Just to let you know, I'm not going to mention any specific names or in terms of that situation. There's no point. It wouldn't do any good. Uh, and I think you're absolutely spot on that it has to do with the land owners or holders, as it were, that the individuals that we see have no control uh, over much of anything that they do, and in fact, much of anything that they say. A lot of it is not specifically scripted, of course, but very nearly so. I mean, it's an income for them. It's a job, and they're going to be cautious to not harm their source of revenue. That's normal. So, if they they can't decide on their own, no matter what they would want to do, they can't make these decisions. And what I'm talking about, of course, is with regards to the spotted hyena cubs being let to starve to death. But again, I wanted to thank you for your letter. It certainly was very nice to know that there are more people who do care about spotted hyenas. One of the things you wrote about, it got me to thinking, and hence what I'm doing here. Excuse me. I thought about writing it, and then I realized it's not possible. There's just too much to say. There's no way I could write it all out. So, what you were talking about had to do with, if humans help, that would be a step towards their living, that spotted hyenas living in captivity. And I think a lot of people think that, and I don't know that that's accurate. And I'm going to share with you some footage to show a little bit about that. And I'm like, I think most people within this group, that I wouldn't ever want to see any animal in a captive situation that that wasn't good for them. That was less than ideal. Okay, sure, being able to be free range and live as naturally and fully as possible, that is the ideal. So, but getting back to the intervention part, I want to share with you about a village. And I'm doing it wrong again, aren't I? That way. Ha! I've got to figure this out. this whole mirror image thing just screws me up. Right over there, towards the bottom, Harar. So I want to share with you about this place called Harar in Ethiopia. I don't know if you'd heard about it before. And if you haven't, very good read. This gentleman, Dr. Baines Rock, he wasn't a doctor at that point that he wrote this, but he is, I believe he is now. Dr. Baines Rock, he lived in Harar for, I would say, over a year, at least. And he went there specifically to study the culture, and also more specifically to study the culture as it relates to how the people and the spotted hyenas have a living relationship, a very living relationship. These spotted hyenas that I'm about to show you are free range, wild. They are not captive at all. So Let me go ahead and share some of that video with you. This is another reason I couldn't write all this out. It wouldn't have worked. Hold on.
No.
The gentleman that you see seated right here, his name is Yusuf. Y-U-S-U-F. They have developed this relationship, Yusuf and his son, which we will see in just a moment here. That way. This mirror image thing drives me crazy. Him and his son, he started feeding the spotted hyenas. I'd say he was maybe in his early 20s, I think, and he's probably somewhere in his 60s at this point. It's been a long time since he's been doing this. Now, there's a story. Why did they start feeding the spotted hyenas? How did this relationship even begin? Well, the story goes a little bit something like this. For a while there, the spotted hyenas were eating the villagers' livestock and even biting some of the humans. Especially if the humans slept what's called sleeping in the rough. That usually means somebody's had too much to drink, they fell asleep in a doorway, and became a meal for the hyenas. And yeah. So one day, the village elder set up a meeting with the head of the spotted hyenas. Like I said, this is a story. They set up a meeting, and the village leader said, look, how about I make a deal with you? If we feed you every night, will you promise that you will not eat our livestock or us? And the spotted hyena thought about it. I said, okay, yeah, we'll do that. That was somewhere in the 1950s or 1960s. They have been feeding the spotted hyenas every single night. Now, what they feed them are scraps of meat. Scraps. Now, you and I both know that spotted hyena diet consists of much more than just scraps. So there is a relationship here. Let's take a little look at the video. That's Yusuf.
እንኳን መቃብር ውስጥ የተቀበረውን አውጥቶ ይበላል። በቃ እያስበላው ያው በቃ ሰውን መብላት ተወ። ይሄን አይቶ ቱሪስት በደንብ ይገባላ ይመጣል። ቱሪስት ለተጋርቱ ዱፈጀቹ ኸይሱማኒስ ኸናላሉ አከለቲ ነምኒ ያችሱ ቢየቢሮ ወይጅራኔ
I paused it there. Did you happen to notice how this particular spotted hyena, how he or she stood there and waited? Could have aggressed on that basket, that little basket right there. Well, it's a big basket. Could have aggressed, could have bit the guy. Deliberately chose not to. All of them are making a deliberate choice. Now, I think spotted hyenas think about things differently. Okay. Now, that's not to say that the hyenas in this situation survive only on scraps. They don't. There are, I'm sure, other animals in the surrounding landscape that they must be predating upon or rendering into food, killing, whatever way you want to call it. And I'm not trying to paint Harar as the ultimate answer. Just like anywhere, there are less than rosy aspects. But in this case, you'll pardon me, I've Still recovering from this damned cold that just will not go away. Let's watch this a little bit more. Okay, yes, you're seeing this correctly. She, or he, not sure which, is actually on his back. Let's think about the choices that she's making there. Remember, these are free-range spotted hyenas. They could very easily destroy him 1,000 times. They could have done it. Remember, he's been doing this since about the 1950s, 1960s. He's been doing this for a very, very long time. The spotted hyenas have decided, they've chosen to continue to work with this man. They've made a relationship.
የወለደ ጅብ የእኛ እርሻ ውስጥ ነበር። ውሻ አለን።
You can see he's quite advanced in age at this point, okay? The language that he's speaking is, I believe, Oromo. And I don't know Oromo, but I believe what he's talking about here has to do with the tourists. And yes, Harar, I'm not sure if you're familiar with Harar, but Harar has become quite the tourist attraction, which presents problems, as you might imagine. There's been an increase in construction, which is bad for habitat. And that's underway right now. So that's not a good thing. Harar is listed on the UNESCO Heritage Site, as one of UNESCO Heritage Sites. And that's because, for one reason, that they have the most different types of religions within their city, all cohabitating peacefully with one another. Now, do they have arguments from time to time? Yes, but those are mostly political, not religious, not cultural. That's a whole different ball of wax. So let's continue with this video for a little bit.
ለውሻ ልፋጭ ይገዛሉ፣ ለሱም ይሰጡታል። የእኛ ከብቶቹም አይነካም፣ አንድ ነገርም አይነካም። ውሻ ከእርሻ ውስጥ ታስሮ ከሸንሸለት ጋር ሄዶ በቃ እንጨት መካከል
So she knows the hyena that's there, right there. She knows she has to wait. I think that's one of the benefits of the spotted hyena's social structure, is they do have, you and I know this, lots of folks know this, the spotted hyenas have a tremendous amount of patience in waiting their turn, so to speak. But yes, you might ask, well, what does this have to do with spotted hyena cubs, however? How do you help them without interfering with their lives? Well, there are research groups in the Maramara and Ngorongoro, I think that's how you pronounce it, crater, that have been conducting research on spotted hyenas for decades, which I'm sure you've heard of. And one of the blog entries that I came across, they were discussing, I forget actually what they were discussing, but the picture showed that they were offering spotted hyena cubs powdered milk. And the spotted hyena cubs were like, yes, we'll take that. Thank you. What it showed, however, was that in the offering of that food, there was absolutely no impact to their social structure. Now, yes, the spotted hyena cubs that we're referring to here, their rank is going to be affected if, and this is quite tragic, if their mother is perished, which she may very well be. It's highly likely at this point, but you never know. So then, yes, because they inherit their rank from their mothers, if their mother passes away, that definitely affects their rank. Well, so does death, but I mean, we know that. So we could possibly leave a bucket near the den site for the cubs, and they would have a fighting chance of survival. Now, some might say, well, Tony, what's the big deal? What's the difference between allowing a carnivore to predate on an ungulate, say an impala or whatever, and that animal gets killed? What's the difference? If it's all happening in a natural environment, isn't it all nature? Can't it all just be allowed to happen? Well, yeah, I suppose. But in the one case where you have a predator and prey, that is survival. That animal is being rendered into food and sustaining another animal. In the case of starvation, nobody is getting supported. And to my mind, it's a waste. Now, yes, if we were to just drop off food, which at this point, I don't know that they're even alive anymore. But in particular, leaving animals to starve to death, I think, is just pointless. I can understand not interfering, as I wrote about, not interfering in disease situations, because there's a possibility of genetic inheritance. And that's going to set up a whole, generations worth of a problem. But in the case of starvation, I don't see a whole lot of point in allowing that to happen. Yes, does it happen in the wild? Sure. But let's also keep in mind that no place on this planet anymore has no impact from humans. There are over 7.6 billion human animals on this planet. Their impact is all the way to the bottom of the ocean, to the top of the North Pole, South Pole, and everywhere in between. So, and of course I did write about, the whole habituation of the vehicles and all of that. So there is interference going on. What harm would it do, really? What harm would it do to leave a bucket of powdered milk and butter, maybe throw in some antibiotics? Wildlife Refuge would probably, help with that. Wildlife sanctuaries, that is. What harm would it do? Why not? Why not presume that the mother, if she indeed is deceased, that her ending didn't happen for some kind of anthropogenic cause? What would it hurt? Now, I was just about to go into the whole hippo story, but I think I'll pass on that for now. Let's continue with this video.
ሸንሸለቱ ገባ እዛው አደረ። ጅቦቹ አልነኩት። አደጋ አንድ ቀን ብቻ ልፋጭ ወስዳለው አለና ጅቦችና ጅቦች ተጣሉ ነበር። በቸኮላ እጄን ነከስኝ እና ሳበኝ።
Now, yes, there is economic benefit to the people. Basically, it's an agreement with the butchers in the village to share scraps. The whole village really does benefit from this relationship with the spotted hyenas. Coming up here in a moment, I hope we'll be seeing Yusuf's son, who it is hoped he's going to continue the tradition. It seems very likely that he will, and he's fairly well incentivized to do so. Yes, this is his son, right here. Watch this. Did you catch that? Let's look at that one more time. First of all, she's on top of him. Look at that. Because spotted hyena's social structure is, I think, why that works. Why he was able to do that. You and I know that spotted hyena's social structure is very predominant in their minds and in their actions. So I think that's how that was able to happen. Because they see him not as a piece of food, but as above them. Enough to where they don't bite him. He's young, look. They could bite him easily. They don't.
አባቴ ሲደክሞ አንዳንድ ጊዜ ያግዘዋል። ልጆቹ በቃ እንደ ጓደኛ ነው ከኔ ጋር ቅርርብ አላቸው በጣም። እንደዚህ አንድ ቀን ባይኔ ካላየው መተኛት አልችልም። እነሱ
እኛ ሀገር ጅብ የምናውቀው በቃ ከ12 ሰዓት በኋላ ጅብ ሰው እንደሚበላ።
I'm going to pull forward a little bit. This is a regular city. Now Harar did start out as a walled city. Vehicles all over the place, people. Yeah, hyenas live side by side here. There. I did it again. You can see all kinds of neighborhoods. There's some mosques there, temples there, churches there. I think this is the village elder at this point. This guy, right here. Now you can have a look here at the landscape. Now you and I know that spotted hyenas need a lot more to eat than just scraps of meat. So there must be more animals out there for them to be able to survive. There are two clans, at least two clans around Harar. There are different feeding sites, and the different feeding sites do function a bit differently from one another. They each do have their own style. So I think what this gentleman is talking about is the economic benefit that tourism has brought to the village. But, you know, we know that it comes with a cost as well.
ሌላ የውጭ ተጽዕኖ ባህል የገባበት አንድ ነገር የለም። አሁን ነው ሲሚንቶ ይሄ ነጭ ድንጋይ የምታየው ይመጣል።
Okay, that is some of the exterior original wall around the village. And coming up here shortly, you're going to see some holes in the walls. And if you look at about halfway up the height of those doors, those are doorways actually. Those originally were built for hyenas. Yes, that right there, that is heightened so humans can go through, but that was originally designed for hyenas to come in and out of the city as they please. Well, somehow or another we've managed to go back again. Sorry about that. Oh. Reached the end of it. Yeah. I should hope so. I'm almost into 30 minutes again. Jeez. So anyway, really, first of all, I wanted to thank you for your message and your words and taking time to write and your positive regard for the animals and the spotted hyenas. And I was hoping to bring something positive in return for your kindness and your support of these animals as well. And I hope I've brought some kind of positive to you. I don't know what. But anyway, I don't want this to go to 30 minutes. It's already going to do so. So, thank you again. I wish you and yours all well, and blessings, and OhWhooop! Thanks for listening. Bye for now.